Have you been thinking about making a move to the Sherwood, Oregon area? Well, in this video, we're going to take you through a whole entire vlog tour of all the neighborhoods. We're going to explore the town. We're going to talk about the school system. So if you're interested in hearing all about what Sherwood has to offer, stick around because we're getting after it right now.
If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Portland or Sherwood, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so that you can be the first to know about everything in the Portland market.
All right, we are starting today in Sherwood in the downtown area. We are making a pit stop. We decided we would get over caffeinated just for you because we're going to spend a large portion of time here today in Sherwood showing you all things Sherwood, schools, YMCA, downtown neighborhoods, and we've chosen some key properties that really represent what you can get here in the Sherwood area. So if you stick around, we're going to show you those properties, what they have to offer. And Erica, what else are we going to show them today?
We're going to show them a little bit of everything, what it's really like to live in Sherwood, all the amenities that they have, the walking trails. Sherwood's got a great YMCA. We're going to stop by there, and then all the amazing neighborhoods, because Sherwood is this great bedroom community that people have really started to flock to. I mean, I remember when I moved here back in the day, and it was like you were out there, but now this is a bustling,
booming,
little area, and people want to be here, and we're going to show you why.
Yep. So come along with us while we drink our coffee and get going. Okay, so we are going to start off by taking you on a tour of the downtown Sherwood area. Erica, what was the name of this place back when they started it? This kind of
back when it was first incorporated, this was called Smockville.
Smockville.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. It was after the founder, and then they later changed the name to Sherwood. So, you know, we are in the original Smockville. Way back in the day.
Yeah, there's Cooper Mountain Ale Works. We'll just drive by. There's a lot of restaurants, pubs. There's, like we said, we started out the coffee shop. People like to come to the downtown area. It's kind of like, you know, a mini downtown, and you can see that people come down here just to kind of do window shopping, get some services. They've got a wine bar called 503 Uncorked. So if you're in the Sherwood area, this is kind of where you come to sometimes meet up with people and get kind of that urban feel, if you will, because actually a lot of Sherwood is not so urban. It's real suburban. So if you're looking for that feel, then this'll do. So we are in the downtown area. There are homes down here. Many go as far back as over 100 years old. And then you've got some peppered in here that are in the 60s and 50s. Not a lot of houses down here, so it's not like a big area where people buy in per se, but there's just enough that are cute and old. A lot of people have refurbished them. And since it is close to the downtown area, it's highly desirable because who doesn't like walking to coffee shops and restaurants and feeling like they're somewhat in a suburban area or urban area, even though it's the suburbs technically here in Sherwood. So you can see the developers put in a really nice kind of condo down here. There are some condo options down here. There's Vine and Sparrow right across the street. Lots of little winery shops, which are great because we are kind of almost close to the wine country, and people like to sit and enjoy some of the world-renowned wines. All right, Erica, tell us about the first house that we're going to show these fine people watching.
So we are in, you know, the heart of Sherwood. We're not that far out of the downtown Old Town area. And right across the street from the middle school, we've got this lovely traditional Crescent style home. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,600 plus square feet home. It's got an office on the main level as well as a covered deck in the back. The garage is oversized with extra storage, which is a huge plus here in Oregon. Most people actually don't use their garages for their cars. We use it for storage.
We do.
And so, you know, having either tall ceilings in your garage or having extra storage or oversized is always a bonus. It's a lovely home, and this is very indicative of what you would find in Sherwood. It's that kind of late 90s, early 2000s. You know, this is what you're going to find for a lot of these homes here in the Sherwood area. Sherwood back in the day was kind of out there. It was not in the heart of anything. And, you know, 20 years ago, nobody was flocking to be here. It was an affordability place. It is no longer an affordability place. Your average price point is in the $700,000 range. And it has now become this beautiful bedroom community that people want to be in. And so a lot of growth happened in the early 2000s. And this is the type of home that you would find.
Something also worth mentioning is a lot of Sherwood is flat. So for instance, this first house we're talking about is flat. You can literally walk to the middle school, which used to be the high school. We're going to take you on a tour of the new high school. But you can walk down the street to a fabulous park just down the way. And it's just a great family community. A lot of families move down here. A lot of the houses are a little bit bigger too. Like you're going to find a lot of the average square footage is right around like 26 to 2,800 square feet. So not small, not too big. And then, of course, you know, like Erica had mentioned, our price ranges out here range on average in the 700s, but you can find them well above $1 million. And we're going to talk a little bit more about how Sherwood is so unique here in just a little bit. So we want to talk a little bit about some uniqueness of Sherwood. So directionally, it is one of the farther points in the Portland metro area. And for a lot of people, it's just too far out, they feel like. It's not close to downtown. Probably take you on a good day about 35, 45 minutes to get to downtown Portland.
You don't have great accessibility necessarily to the highways, especially if you're in deep Sherwood or like Old Town. You've got a little bit of a drive to get out to the highways.
Yeah, and so kind of the ways to get in here is the 12th and Sherwood Road, which kind of runs through a little bit of an industrial business area, which can get a little clogged up. Or Highway 99, which runs all the way to downtown Portland and also can get pretty trafficky, but it butts up against the urban growth boundary. It's right up against wine country. You're literally within minutes of almost 100 wineries out here because wine country starts technically in the Sherwood acreage area and goes all the way out towards Yam Hill. And so one thing that people like to do here, because you're in a bedroom community, is they head out to the local wineries. There's one not too far from here called Hawksview. And I liken it to like a local bar, but it is not a local bar. It's just where a lot of people go because it's so close to the suburbs, and you can get a glass of wine. They even serve a little bit of food. There's a beautiful view of Mount Hood. And so it gets packed there on the weekends and sometimes in the afternoons, weekdays, because it's just so beautiful to sit out and have a glass of wine and a charcuterie board with some friends or family.
But you're still really close in.
Yeah, you're so close.
Your proximity is, you know, far nicer than if you're driving all the way out to some of these other communities like Newburgh or Dundee, which are, you know, really known for their wines, but we have great wines this close in as well.
Yeah.
And that's really, you know, the beauty of this location is that you kind of got everything at your fingertips. I mean, the other thing I think that's really cool about the Sherwood area is they've really built in a lot of walking trails, a lot of great sidewalks, you know, wide sidewalks so that you can have bikes, you can have runners, walkers, dogs, strollers. This is a family type community. You know, obviously you have everybody living here, but you do find that for the schools, which are highly rated, you do tend to get a lot of families moving into the area so that they can take advantage of these great public schools.
Yeah, and the housing type out here is you can get condos and townhomes. It's mostly single family homes. There is a planned subdivision that we're gonna go drive through called Woodhaven, which was built in the early 2000s, late 90s. And it kind of surrounds YMCA, and it is just a charming neighborhood that really kind of put Sherwood on the map back in the day.
Yeah.
And but there's a lot of different variations of neighborhoods. It's still fairly affordable-ish when you look on the west side. You can find some properties in the 500s, but you know, you're probably getting an older home, 1,600 square feet. But you can get well over $1 million. So the other interesting thing about Sherwood, which is what Eric and I really love because we really love acreage property and showing acreage property, is there is a ton of acreage homes in and surrounding the Sherwood area. It kind of butts up against Wilsonville, which also has some beautiful acreage properties, but you can find horse properties. You can find what we call martini farmers, which are these big, beautiful homes on just a handful of acres, small acres. You can still find farms, hobby farms, wineries. Like there's really a huge variety of acreage properties that surround the Sherwood area. So if somebody's wanting to be on the west side and they want, you know, good schools, or they want, you know, beautiful terrain, or want to be around the wine country, truly Sherwood is a fabulous place to look for something like that, because you're still close into town.
Yeah.
So you're not like way out.
You still have all the amenities too, in terms of like shops. Like you've got your Target, you've got your, you know, fast food restaurants if that's your gig. You've got some sit down restaurants. Then you also have a splashing of local restaurants, the wine bars. So it's that happy mix of like more commercial entities, but you still have all the stores that you want. You got lots of grocery store options. And yet you still do have this small town feel that you aren't like so close to Portland.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of this cool merriment of having the best of both worlds, per se. Now that it does come at a cost, but you know, it is really interesting because Sherwood is that balance. Like right as soon as you get outside the city limits, I mean, you're into like acreage country.
Yeah.
And you do have these big, beautiful farms, and they do come at a cost as well. Like, you know, having close in acreage in Sherwood is expensive. However, it's a great location and, you know, good soils, good for just about everything. All right, so Sherwood, while it has a small town feel and is only 4.5 square miles in city limits, is about 20,000 people in population. So it's getting up there. It's grown a good bit. There is actually a lot of new construction happening as well. So they are anticipating that the population of Sherwood is going to greatly increase just because it is so desirable. We've got all the builders as well coming out to try to partake in that. And obviously, you know, as the city grows, it's, you know, charm is going to change, but they really did, especially with the high school, go above and beyond in terms of trying to make sure that they accommodated for the growth that was happening in Sherwood. So once we get over there and we show you how big this place is, it really is quite the fortress. And, you know, if Sherwood is some place that's on your list that you're thinking about moving, I would definitely check it out. If you have a high schooler, go schedule a visit. It is quite impressive. They spent a couple years building this place, and it is, I would almost say it's on par with like a small college. I mean, it's very nice. And they went all out in terms of the amenities that they gave it. So the family unit and kids and community is really, I think, when you think about Sherwood, what you're thinking about. Yeah. And if those are the important things to you, then I would definitely say check out Sherwood.
Because you're not in downtown. You know, this is not a typical Portland feel of a neighborhood like you see on other videos. This is definitely the burbs.
Yeah.
And one thing to note too is that we're pretty close to, even though we're a little further out, you actually can take the road, the back roads to the tech area. You are close. A lot of people from Intel work out here or live out here. It's not a terrible commute. You don't have to get on any major freeways if you're working on the west side. There's a lot of different routes you can take, like we mentioned. And they're building, you know, because there's so much infrastructure going in with all the building happening on the west side, the roads are expanding. Like Roy Rogers Road is one of the back roads you take to get towards Beaverton, Hillsboro. And they're expanding those roads as we speak, which is great because that used to be the only back road. And now it's going to be like a 4-lane, well, I guess a 4-lane highway at some point. You're not getting on any major freeways if you live on the west side. And it butts up against Newburgh, which is Yamhill County. Right now, Sherwood is in Washington County, if we didn't mention that before. So you're not that far away from Yamhill County. Newburgh is just south.
Like 10 minutes down the 99, or, you know, you could, multiple ways to get down there, but 99 being the fastest and the most common.
Yep.
And so you've got everything at your fingertips.
Well, we've got Tualatin, so it butts up against Tualatin, and then it butts up against Tigard. So when you kind of look at a map of Sherwood, you're going to see Newburgh to the south, Tigard to the north, Tualatin to the, I guess, the northeast-ish to it, and also Wilsonville. So we can't forget about that because it is connected to Wilsonville. So you're kind of connected to all the major like city suburbs on the west side for the most part. And it is a small town feel, but it is growing, like Erica said. Kind of have everything you need right in this city. You don't have to leave the city for most of your major amenities.
Yeah, because we've got the old town if you want that like little walkability aspect. And then as we'll see a little bit later in the video, we also have a more commercial section where you've got, like we talked about, your Targets and some of these bigger stores that you're going to want to go shopping at. Lots of restaurant, you know, options like Killer Burger and Handle's Ice Cream and Langer's Fun Center. I mean, there's just a lot of options, but it is a more driving area. You're crossing 99.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the 12th.
Wouldn't say it's a walkable community per se. I mean, you can walk in
that's
it,
what
but
I'm saying. No, like only Old Town is walkable.
Yeah.
This is your more commercial. You need to be driving.
Yeah. All right, we're going to talk about the school system here in Sherwood for a minute. Now, we always recommend you do your own homework on the ratings, but if you go to a website called niche.com and you check out their ratings on the school systems, you're going to see that they really rate Sherwood pretty high. In fact, they give it like an A-, and that's usually pretty high here in the Portland area. You can read all about it on their website, but this behind us is the Sherwood Middle School. This used to be the high school, this building right behind us, but they built a massive high school, and we're going to take you by. In fact, it's the largest high school in the state of Oregon. It looks like a fortress when you look at it.
Yeah.
It's very impressive, but there's a lot of growth happening in Sherwood. Like we had mentioned, it's a family community. The average house size is up there, and so people come out here and this is where they grow their families. My sister, I sold her house here with her family about 6 years ago. They live in Woodhaven. They absolutely love it. They really appreciated, the school system and all the amenities nearby. So they've been quite happy here. But yeah, it's definitely a kind of a family-based community. So schools are super, super important. And we'll head over to the high school in a little bit and show you around. So we are now driving through Woodhaven, which is one of the most popular neighborhoods in all of Sherwood. It's one of the few really planned communities out here. It was really the neighborhood that put Sherwood on the map back in the day. Before that, Sherwood really wasn't much of a town. It was a farm community. They had, the downtown area, which had some older homes, but they just really didn't have any presence. Woodhaven really kicked off the Sherwood development because once this was put in, it has walking trails everywhere. You can see that there's various different types of neighborhoods within it. It's pretty expansive. It took many years to complete. And once this was built in here, all of a sudden Sherwood really became quite popular for families to come out. When I got into real estate over 20 years ago, Sherwood was like way out there. Most people would have never considered it because back in those days, you could still get houses close into the Portland area. But today, it's one of the most desirable communities in all of the Westside, actually. A lot of people want to get out to this community because of the great schools, and it doesn't feel like you're in a overly populated city or town, and you can get to downtown quickly if you had to. And certainly, it's not that bad for a commute altogether. If you're obviously working on the west side of town. Again, some people won't consider this area if they're, working on the east side is just too far out for them. But it's also a great way just to kind of get away from it all. That's a lot of the reason why people love Sherwood. There's growth happening, but it's not super high density either.
I think one of the things that makes this neighborhood so cool is that you have these lovely wide streets, you have great sidewalks on both sides, and then you have all these wonderful walking trails. And this is just such a beautiful area. I mean, this is early in the year when we're making this video, but like during the fall, this place is absolutely gorgeous. It's just bloomed out and really, kind of quintessential Northwest. Absolutely gorgeous area.
So we're approaching the next property we want to show you in Sherwood. It's listed at $729, and as we mentioned before, in the 700s is the standard average price range here in Sherwood. This is a 4-bedroom, 3 full bathroom, 2,819 square feet. It looks like a 1 level on the outside, but in fact, it's got 2 primary suites, 1 on the main, 1 on the lower, so it's great for generational living, which is huge in the Portland area, especially here in Sherwood, because a lot of grandparents like to move to this area because they have grandkids in the area. So we often get a phone call that says, we're looking for main level living, or we want to move in with our kids and have a main level primary suite, and this house would absolutely work. It's a corner lot. You can in fact walk to Archer Elementary School, which is
You are
very
walking
nice.
down a hill though.
It is
So
a little
the
bit of an
walk
incline.
back home is going to be difficult.
Well, if you're young and you're spry, maybe not like us, but yeah, it's got some like little bit of views up here because we're kind of climbing up on a hill here in the Sherwood area. So the further up you go on this hill, you get some views. But this is just a great neighborhood located really close to, it's not technically Woodhaven, but you kind of come in off Highway 99, the Woodhaven entrance, and you kind of drive through and you're in this neighborhood. So really a nice home for the money. Again, it's kind of a classic Sherwood style home right here in Sherwood in the 700s. And here we have Archer Elementary School. This is one of the other elementary schools in the Sherwood area. It's probably one of the originals that was here before they expanded to other elementary schools, but right here in the Woodhaven neighborhood. We are at the YMCA. This was built at the same time as Woodhaven came into development. It is a popular spot that you can do all kinds of stuff inside. People love it. It's kind of a centerpiece right here in the Woodhaven area. There is a skate park that also is in the YMCA parking lot. It's pretty large. So if you want to bring your kids over here to play in it, it's a great way for them to get their skateboarding on.
All right, so this next home is a beautiful 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, about 2,400 square feet, and it is listed at $800,000 exactly. It is a corner unit, or a property, I should say, and has a decent sized lot. It's also super cool because it's kind of butting up against like a green space or a green belt.
Like a private drive almost.
Yeah,
You can
so
have a
you
little privacy.
One-way street here, but it's not seeing a lot of traffic, and there's definitely going to be no homes built right next to you. So that's a total positive. This home, I like to say that it's newer. It is newer. It is 4 years old. It was built in 2020, which I can't believe is, 4 years ago now. But it has all those, modern upgrades that we have kind of come to expect in homes these days, such as quartz countertops and, stainless steel appliances and all that kind of stuff.
It's new for the neighborhood because this is still Woodhaven, which a lot of these houses were built in the late 90s, early 2000s. So
this is a little bit of like an infill. So there's about 4 or 5 homes. They were all built about the same time. It looks like they probably just finished off the street. Somebody who had some, leftover lots that had never gotten built on. So you've got about 4 or 5 more modern, newer homes. But they still fit in well with the neighborhood, and you've got all those amenities of Woodhaven, the walkability, the beautiful mature landscaping. This is really such a stunning area to live in that, you can just, and it's super safe. You've got wide streets, sidewalks everywhere, and then on the
tree-lined streets too, so it has that charm.
Yeah, so it's not like you're just in this bare new neighborhood that has these like trees that aren't quite sure if they're gonna grow or not. And so it's a really great option to, the house also has a main level bedroom with a Murphy bed, so it can kind of daylight as an office, and then if you need it for a guest, you can pull down that Murphy bed and work away. So super cool house, great option. And he agrees too.
Yeah.
So that's what you get in the 800s.
Well, we are showing you the last house here for $950. It's a 4-bedroom, 3 full bathrooms, just under 3,200 square feet. Now, we're actually sitting down. You might be like, well, why are you sitting down? And the house is behind you directly for sale. Well, that's because there's like a little micro park right in the middle of this cul-de-sac. It is absolutely adorable.
Yo, it's freaking so cute.
Yeah, if I lived in this neighborhood, I'd be sitting down here all the time, right?
It's got a little library stand over there.
Yeah.
It's got several benches around.
You could probably take your dog out here every morning and
area.
just hang out with your kids. Like, you don't have to even like walk to the park, which is just down the way, but you could just do it right here. But yeah, it's really nice. That house behind us is the one we're referencing. It backs to a green space. And this community of homes in this cul-de-sac was built by Renaissance, which, if you're not familiar with Renaissance,
They're great.
They are a beloved builder that built a lot of stuff in the mid to early 2000s here in the west side of town. They have excellent craftsmanship. I can't say enough good things about them. They've always had a great reputation. So if you ever come across a Renaissance house, know it's made with high quality and a lot of design. Like, they're not little cookie cutter type houses. They really have some beauty to them, and they just kind of are classic and stand the test of time. But this is a little community that was built in the Woodhaven, Sherwood area. Probably about, what's the date on this one? I'm just going to reference my notes here. Early 2004. So 2004, which
Right in that time frame.
It makes sense because, you know, after Woodhaven was built out in the beginning, then more and more builders came out here and started expanding, and this is one of those little pocket areas. So for $950,000, you can live in a neighborhood like this. So that is your deep dive into Sherwood, Oregon. If you think this might be the place for you, then don't be afraid to reach out to us. All of our contact information is in the description below. So whether it's 9 days, 90 days, 9 months, we are your gals. We'd love to connect with you either via, text, email, call, whatever. We're flexible. So don't hesitate to reach out, and we will see you guys on the next video.
All right, bye.
Bye.